Good evening, Internet. Shroom here playing Standard tonight, and I don't know about you, but I have this problem in Standard lately, which is all of my creatures die. Yes, every opponent that I play against seems to be just overloaded with removal spells, making any kind of creature-based strategy very difficult to pull off. So I'm going to try to work around this for the next couple of brews, and tonight we're going to try to work around it by spamming fish. Let's take a look. Alright, so tonight this fish spam deck is a Simic Merfolk deck, and we're leveraging Deeproot Pilgrimage as a way to create a bunch of Hexproof tokens, can't be removed by removal spells, and eventually create a critical mass of these tokens by tapping a bunch of really cheap Merfolk and overwhelming the board with the tokens and crushing our opponent with Anthems and eventually Overrun. So Deeproot Pilgrimage is a 2-mana enchantment. Whenever one or more non-token Merfolk you control become tapped to create a 1/1 blue Merfolk creature with Hexproof. Yes, all those Merfolk tokens have Hexproof. So we're going to create these tokens by tapping a bunch of really cheap Merfolk that we're running. And the cheap Merfolk include the Cenote Scouts at 1, of course. They're just 1/1s that explore when they enter the battlefield. And then we've got these Jade Light Spelunkers, which you can pay X when you cast them to have them explore X times to help us find those lands, to help us dig, search through our library for the Deeproot Pilgrimage. We're also running a 4 of River Herald Scout. They're just 2/1, 2-mana 1/2 commons that when they enter explore, they're Merfolk. How are we going to tap our Merfolk? Because, of course, we have to tap these non-token Merfolk in order to create tokens from our pilgrimage. Well, we're going to do that using Kona tech, these spaceship lands, Uthros and Evendro. They're just planet lands that you can tap at sorcery speed to station them. So as soon as you cast a creature, the same turn, if you have one of these creature lands, even if the land is tapped, you can tap your creature to station the planet and thereby produce a token off Deeproot Pilgrimage. So Uthros basically turns into like a Tolarian Academy, not going to be useful to us. Evendro becomes a Gaia's Cradle, which might be a little more useful if we have a bunch of tokens, but primarily we just use these cards to have the ability to tap down our guys. We can also tap down our guys with Lifecraft Engine, which doubles as an Anthem for Merfolk. It's a vehicle that we choose a creature type. It gives all other creatures of that type +1/+1. We'll choose Merfolk, of course. And we can actually crew it for 3, meaning that we can tap 3 power worth of Merfolk, which could be a couple of our non-token Merfolk in order to crew it, in order to enable the token production off Deeproot Pilgrimage. We also, I forgot to mention these Mindspring Merfolk, which are also 1-mana Merfolk, which also can just use their exhaust ability to tap and draw cards for double blue plus X. They can exhaust to draw X cards and put a +1 counter on each Merfolk we control, incidentally. So also making our board of tokens much more dangerous. So, like, the idea is, like, we don't want our creatures to be killed, so we're making a bunch of hexproof tokens. However, of course, these Sweeney Merfolk can be killed, which is a way that our opponent can get around this. We're trying to avoid this with some tech, including a couple of spell pierces. We're trying to avoid this by playing our Merfolk really early and like getting our Deeproot tech off quickly, so that they just won't be able to have the mana available to kill all our Merfolk before we can start generating tokens. We're also running a 1 of Lost in the Maze, which is this flash enchantment. You probably are familiar with this, again, from Kona decks, which it's 2 blue and X. When it enters, you tap X target creatures and put a stun counter on them. So we can tap our own creatures, we can tap our opponent's creatures to lock down their creatures so that they can't block our attackers, and it makes it so that tapped creatures we control have hexproof. So if we are tapping our Merfolk to trigger the Deeproot Pilgrimage, our creatures will be tapped, and therefore they will not be able to, they will have hexproof and not be targetable by spot removal. So that's the basic idea. So yeah, we're going to create all these tokens off Deeproot Pilgrimage. We're going to tap our cheap Merfolk to create the tokens. We've got these Anthems, which are going to make our 1/1 hexproof Merfolks into actual threats. The Lifecraft Engine, as mentioned before, can be a source of tapping as well, whereas the Patchwork banner just is a mana rock, which is useful to have. More mana is always a good thing to have. And then we're finally going to finish the game once we have a wide board of tokens with these Overruns. Yes, we're actually playing Overrun. Now, why are you not playing Uroboros, I hear you asking? You could play Uroboros. The thing about Uroboros is that it dies to removal. Everyone's ready to kill Uroboros at instant speed. The other thing is it's not a Merfolk, so it doesn't trigger the Deeproot Pilgrimage. I could definitely see an argument for Ouroboros. It's a great way to put lots of +1/+1 counters on creatures. However, for tonight, I'm running Overrun because I feel like it's just overall fits in with the strategy of the deck a little better. Even if it's a bit more expensive, this is going to be a late game play when we have a wide board full of tokens. Then, of course, we've got to deal with our opponent's stuff in order to survive long enough to build that said board. So we've got some card draw to help us find the Deeproot Pilgrimages. We've got the Sleight of Hands. We've got these Consult the Star Charts. Of course, we are an Explore deck. We're a deck that explores a lot, which will help us as well to make not only our land drops, but to find our way to the Deeproot Pilgrimages. And then we've got to interact with our opponent to make sure their board doesn't get out of control. We're doing that with 3 of Into the Flood Maw, 2 of Unable to Scream to deal with creatures in the main board, more in the side, and a couple of Spell Pierces. Total of 21 land in the deck is appropriate for the mana value, and also considering the amount of exploring that we're doing, should be fine. You know, these planets do all come into play tapped, so there is a bit of awkwardness in having these 6 always tap lands in a deck that wants to play, you know, 1-drops and stuff like that. But we're just gonna have to manage the slow mana as best we can. We do have a couple of Demolition Fields here as the only tech aside from the planets, just to help fight against like Fountain Ports, stuff like that. The sideboard contains a couple of annuls, lots of counterspells, a couple of annuls against those artifact and enchantment decks. A Disdainful Stroke is good against lots of decks, including Uroboroid decks and Quantum Riddler decks. A couple of Essence Scatters are just hard counters against creature spells. 1 Negate is there to counter non-creature spells. A Heritage Reclamation and 2 Paw Patch Formations are here for green removal against artifacts, enchantments, flying creatures. A couple of Unable to Screams round out the full playset against those mid-range matchups that want to play lots of creatures. And then we've got a couple of Soul Guide Lanterns for additional sideboard tech to supplement our Heritage Reclamation. Really, the Reclamation supplements our Soul Guide Lanterns, I should say. And then we've got a couple of Tishana's Tidebinders because they are Merfolk, and they have a very powerful effect that is sometimes going to be good to blank our opponent's activated triggers abilities. So that is the plan. We're going to spam some Simic Fish. We just hope that our deck is kind and lets us find our Deeproot Pilgrimages quickly. We also hope not to run into like lots of sweepers, because sweepers are going to be really good against us. So let's see if we can dodge those bullets aimed squarely at our fish. If you like off-meta MTG content, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. Gazeru will be our first opponent. We're going to be spamming some fish, creating lots of hexproof creatures. Yeah, this looks fine. We can River Herald Scout on 2. We're on the draw. It could get ugly if our opponent's really aggro, but I don't think I want to mulligan this. Okay, tap land is a relief. Voice of Victory. Yeah, this is a card that's very hard for us to deal with, because we have a lot of counterspells in our deck. So we really like to cast them. Unable to Scream is the answer. Tolls of War, so they're like a sacrifice deck. Yeah, we can block. So they get to create a 1/1. But we get to Unable to Scream the Voice. Then I think we'll play a tap land. We could go for X equals 1 on this Jadelight Spelunker. I think I'd rather play a tap land and do it more next turn. I'll attack with my 2/3. So we would like to find our pilgrimage at some point. Hopefully a Surveil for like 3 will help us. Fanatical Offering on their clue to draw 2 cards. Okay, we draw land. Yeah, I think I want to... Let's X equals 2 this Explore. This land. Deeproot Pilgrimage, we'll keep that on top. Play a land. Attack? Of course, another way that we can tap our Merfolk to activate Deeproot Pilgrimage is by attacking in combat. Whenever you sack a permanent during your turn, create a 1/1 white ally once per turn. Alright, they're gonna keep making weenies. That's fine. Our weenies are hexproof. Little block the voice. I could bounce this ally token. I'm gonna hold on to my Fledmaw. Okay. So now let's Deeproot Pilgrimage. Attack. Make a hexproof Merfolk. Play this land so we can Lost in the Maze X equals 1. Tap something down and give our tapped creatures hexproof as well. The problem with attacking though is that we only get 1 token instead of 2. Carrot cake. Yep. We'll take 2. That's fine. So let's X equals 2. Sorry. X equals 1, I guess. Tap down one of these tokens. Sleight of hand. Let's sleight of hand. Let's fight another Merfolk. Oh, or a Lifecraft Engine. I think I like Lifecraft Engine better, actually. Let's play the Lifecraft Engine on Merfolk. Let's swing. We only get 1 token this way, sadly. Okay, next turn we can Overrun, and I have to think that's going to be lethal. Another Voice of Victory. Okay. Can't do anything about it. Bart. We'll take 4. Does it have lifelink? It does. So they're going to go up to 9. But I think that our attack should still be lethal next turn. We're just going to take this. Okay. So we bounce Bart. And then we Overrun. Swing. Okay, GG's. So, Voice of Victory, we absolutely need Unable to Scream to counter. I think we need our Paw Patches and Heritage Reclamation. Probably need Tishana's Tidebinder as well. I think we want some annuls. They're going to be a Caretaker's Talent deck. So that's 9 things that we're boarding in. That's a lot. We'll cut... I like the overruns, though. Maybe we'll cut 1. It's very tough to, like, go down on creatures in this deck, because there's only, like, 15 of them, and we really need them. We'll cut a Flood Maw. We'll cut a Spell Pierce, maybe. So we can cut a couple of the Mindspring, since we are bringing in the Tidebinders. I guess we'll cut a Consult. Go down to 2 Patchwork banners. Actually, I think I like the banners better than the Lifecraft engines. Cut a Spelunker. Just go down to... Yeah, let's try it like this. 61. I ran out of time. Well, Annul and Spell Pierce are both very good. We're on the draw. We also have a Cenote Scout. I think we're gonna keep this. It's a risky, definitely a risky 1 land keep, but we're keeping. Okay, drew land. That's good. Tolls of War. We'll Spell Pierce that. Alright, play our Scout. Deeproot Pilgrimage on top. Perfect. Voice of Victory. Alright, Pilgrimage. Aren't making tokens. We'll take 3. Rotten Mouth Viper. I'll lose 4, a card to discard. I can discard Overrun, I think. I would like to not lose any life. Okay. Well, let's bounce the Viper. Play this tap land. Attack with my Scout. Pass. Viper again. Alright. We'll lose 4 life. Dude, where's my freaking, unable to screams? River Herald Scout. Yeah, more Merfolk means more fish that we can spam out. I guess. I don't know if I should have topped that Herald, because it would be nice to like be able to tap this down, but fine. Make some tokens. Carrot cake. Sure, that's fine. I want to save this annul for something more impactful. Lose 8 life. I'll sack 2 of my tokens. And block. Okay. So I would like to Lost in the Maze. I could go for a Herald Scout. I think I need to Lost in the Maze here. Can I go one more turn without doing it? I think maybe I can, actually. But we only get 1 token this way. Alright. Yeah, that's what we want to counter. My fish are hexproof. Don't even toggle over them. Lose 12 life. Okay, we'll discard a card. Lose 8. Block. Tragic trajectory, 1 of my scouts. Okay. Stop. We're gonna do this on their turn. So we're just attacking. I actually could tide bind the Viper. The Viper's trigger. That would probably be better, actually. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Well, I want to get down my Lost in the Maze anyway. So maybe I'll start by tapping down the Viper. Okay. X equals 1. They exercise Lost in the Maze for some reason. And not my Deeproot Pilgrimage. There's a Voice of Victory. Well, that means that we can't Tishana's now. We can't Tishana's the Viper. Okay, the voice dies. Okay, that's good news for us. I think we got this. Dalcoven encampment. Uh-huh. Tide bind the Viper. That's game. Alright. Got there against a Viper deck. Cool. The deck did its thing. Alright. We're against Palo CP39, the Seasons. With some, we're gonna spam some fish. We'll be on the play. And this hand looks fine. We'll need to find some of our stuff, but I like the start. Okay, Cenote Scout's a good draw. Jade Light Spelunker. Let me take a Spelunker. The Iron Crag. Alright, I think I'll just... X equals 1 this Spelunker. River Herald Scout. Okay. Attack. I think we'll bounce the Iron Crag, slow them down. The Iron Crag is back. Okay, let's play this Patchwork banner. Spectral Restitching to bounce my Jade Light dude. Okay. Then we'll play this River Herald Scout. Draw land. Attack. I get back my Jade Light Spelunker. Doesn't get to explore. Anti-Fossil Vestige. Back Ogier Pakpatik. Whenever you cast an instant spell from your hand, it gains a rebound. When it dies, return it to the battlefield tapped and transformed. Okay. Boy. What do I want to do here? Well, I definitely am attacking. That I have no doubt about. I guess I'm gonna try to consult for something. River's Rebuke. Alright, let's kick this consult. Spell Pierce plus into the Flood Maw. Spell Pierce it. Blood Mob the Ogier. They have banner. Stock up. Okay, so Etherize is very likely here, but that's okay if they want to Etherize my whole board. I can't really play around Etherize. Machine just gonna bounce everything. Okay. We'll keep a consult. Extinguisher battleship. So that's gonna wipe my whole board. Oh my gosh. Destroy a permanent, then it does 4 damage to everything. Okay. I think they're like trying to... No, they're just mono blue. There's the Ogier. Realm sketching, so they're going to create a copy of that in order to destroy my other Patchwork banner. And their own Ogier, which does come back as a land. So let's take a Jade Light Ranger and a Consult, maybe? Sure. Sleight of hand? Sleight of hand. Jade Light Spelunker. Sure, well, X equals 1 this Spelunker. I guess we'll X equals 1 this Spelunker. Mindspring Merfolk on top. There's the Vestige. Ten Flying Trample. Washi Tong, X equals 1. Well, alright. Let's consult. Find a Into the Flood Maw. There we go. And that's game. Into the Flood Maw and Spell Pierce, I guess. Attack for lethal. Okay, big mana stuff. So give me Annul. Give me Disdainful Stroke. Negate. Heritage Reclamation. Tishana's. I can cut a couple of Mind Springs because I'm bringing in Tishana's. Overrun, I don't think we really need that much of, if any. Yeah, I don't think we need to Overrun. I think our anthems are much more important. Maybe we'll cut one of these, cut another anthem, go down to 4 total. Leave the Lifecraft, because we might theoretically want to attack with this. Cut, Consult. Just go down to 1 Mind Spring. Let's try this. Alright, this looks pretty good. We'll keep. We don't really have good interaction. We got double Deeproot Pilgrimage, though. That should be worth something. Triple Deeproot Pilgrimage. Alright, let's tap land turn 1. Alright, let's play the Cenote Scout. Consult. We're looking for more land at this point. Let's Sleight of Hand. Grab a heritage reclamation. It stocks up. Alright, land is great. So let's play Pilgrimage. Attack. Make a weenie. Unable to scream. Alright. Looks like they have some kind of interaction here. Let's go for an attack. Make a weenie. High Fae Trickster. Gonna eat one of our 1/1s. Alright. Play another Pilgrimage. And an Unable to Scream. Anti-toggle Vestige. Warped. So they can play a 5-drop. Just a land. Alright. Let's play a River Herald Scout. Draw an untapped land, please. Spell Pierce. We'll keep a Spell Pierce on top, I guess. Station. Make some dorks. Attack. Make some more dorks. Spam and fish. Alright, we can play this Vestige. It's big. Doesn't have trample though. Alright, let's just play another Pilgrimage. Station, make 3 dorks. Station, make 3 dorks. Attack. Those tokens all have hexproof. They do know I have this Spell Pierce. Hopefully it's protecting me from the worst of whatever they've got. We'll take 7. you're an archive. Okay. Spectral restitching. Gonna blink both of those guys. Alright. Sure. Alright. So we could play this River Herald Scout. We'll keep an unable to scream on top. And we'll station with it. Make some dorks. Yeah, I think we just station every turn. Make some dorks. Station, make some dorks. Pass. They have access to 9 mana. It's scary. It's possible I should have a season of whatever. Can bounce my whole board. Yeah, I should have Heritage Reclamation their thing. They keep an archive. I still have 17 hexproof merfolk though. They're at 3. Yeah, we'll just Skull Pierce that. Alright, opponent scoops it up. Alright, we spammed too many fish. Victory. Crimson Spawn the Mighty will be our next opponent. I'm gonna spam some fish. And, yeah, this looks fine. Llanowar. Alright, bounce it. So, most likely a Badgermole Cub matchup. Or unable to scream. Yeah, that's a good one. Here's Badgermole. Well, we do have this unable to scream. There's the Llanowar. And some more Llanowar. Alright, let's play a banner, I guess. They chump with their Badgermole. So if they just play Ouroboros here, it's still very bad, and I will lose if I don't find something else to deal with it. Nature's Rhythm, X equals 2 for a Badger Mole Cub. 4 mana for an Ouroboros. It's just so hard to, like, stop this deck from doing its thing. X equals 2 for another Badger Mole Club. Now they have, like, actual infinite mana on their next turn. Play another banner. Sleight of hand. Excellent choice there. An attack. Leyline Weaver. They have 13 mana. They haven't even tapped their land. They have actual, you know, they could tap for another 1 and have 14. Genesis Wave, X equals 10. Top inchers. Okay, we can just scoop. Unable to scream. Essence Scatter. Tishana's. Anything else? Disdainful Stroke. Negate. They seem to be going for... Yeah, they got the Nature's Rhythms. They got the Genesis Wave. So, cut an Overrun. We can cut a couple of Mindspring because we're bringing in the Shishanas. We'll go down 1 Anthem. Cut a Consult. Go down to 1 Mindspring. Cut 1 Spell Pierce. Cut the Spell Pierces, actually. I think the mana is just not a problem for them most of the time. Spell Pierce is tricky because they will tap down for their Genesis Waves and, like, Nature's Rhythm. But if you don't draw it at just the right time, it could be really bad. We're going to be on the play. And we'll keep this. The problem is, I guess we have an Into the Flood Maw for interaction, like, which is kind of about as good as we do, maybe? We'll keep. Our explorers can help us find something else, maybe. Negate. I think I want to negate. No 1-drop. Okay. Play a 2-drop. Do some exploration. Deeproot Pilgrimage? Yes, please. When it passes. Okay. Play Pilgrimage. Attack. Make it dork. Leyline Weaver. Alright, let's do some spelunking. X equals 1. Find an untapped land, please. Thank you. And we'll attack with our Scout. Dork. I should have attacked with Cenote Scout. If they wanted to block with Leyline Weaver, that's totally fine. That was silly. They just wouldn't have blocked, but they would have taken 2 extra points of damage. Nature's Rhythm X equals 2. I wonder what it could be. Alright, so they have 4 mana now. There's the Roid. Yep. And have we lost? I don't know. We can Tishana the Herboroid next turn. We need to find some land here. Okay. That's actually pretty good. So we'll play this. Start stationing. Make our dorks. Pass. The problem is they now have this Nature's Rhythm, which they can cast after combat. Earthbender Ascension. So after this, like, I would love to counter this. I would really love to counter this. Yeah, I'm gonna counter this. Because I can bounce the Ouroboros this turn. They can recast it. Another Earthbender Ascension, okay. Okay. Bounce the Ouroboros. They can't recast it this turn. Unable to scream. So we have 7 creatures to their 5 blockers. I think we'll unable to scream this Badger Mole. Play our Anthem. Get in there. Make only 1 token. Alright, we got him. Phew. Just enough fish. Anything we want to do different? Anulla's only good against Earthbender Ascension then. I think we're just running it back. Alright, Essence Scatter is good, and Unable to Scream is good. No 1-drop. That's very... a little glad about that. Alright, we don't have tap land. Pilgrimage. Alright, let's Unable to Scream the Badger Mole Cub. So they don't have Ouroboros mana right now. They do next turn. Attack for 1. I should have played a should have played my tap land there. Yeah, I gotta hold up Essence Scatter. Really should have played my tap land. That was a big mistake. Nature's Rhythm X equals 2 for Badger Mole Cub. Earthbender Ascension. Alright, let's Tidebind that. This doesn't shut down the Ascension permanently, unfortunately. Because it doesn't do that to enchantments. Unable to Scream. That's kind of a good one, I guess. Although we only have one blue source currently. So that means we would not be able to play Essence Scatter. Like, if I unable to Scream a Badger Mole, they only have access to... They still have access to 6 mana. They just have infinite mana. Let's wait. 6 mana is still enough for them to Nature's Rhythm X equals 2. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. This Essence Scatter doesn't help against Nature's Rhythm. It's so sick that they get to play this card twice each time. X equals 4. What could that be, I wonder? Well, we don't have anything to deal with that. I guess unable to Screaming one of the Badger Moles would have made it so they could not Nature's Rhythm for the Ouroboros. I don't know. And it's looking grim. Looking real grim. X equals 2. Jade Light Spelunker. Yeah, we need something a little better against them specifically. Crater Hoof. Yeah, okay. Don't know why that took them so long to figure out to do that, but... yeah, can't stop the Badger Moles. Badger Moles are the reason why you want your creatures to all be hexproof, because everyone has to play a million removal spells, because if you don't, you lose to Badger Moles. Jimmy Samsara will be our next opponent. Hopefully they want to play, because we've got some fish to spam. We got the Pilgrimage, I'm keeping. Restless Vents. Okay. Do I need to hold up Spell Pierce for turn 2? I'm gonna hold up Spell Pierce for turn 2. Okay. So we can... Sleight of Hand. Unable to Scream or a Anthem. Well, the Anthem goes with the Pilgrimage, right? So I think I'm going to take the Anthem. We do need to find some Merfolk. Ursa. Flamewake Phoenix. A being of combat your turn. If you control a creature with power 4 or greater, you may pay red. If you do, return it from the graveyard to the battlefield. Okay. Well, I don't want to bounce Tursa. Overrun. I still think I just want to hold up Spell Pierce. Oh, I could have sleight of handed there. But this way I have Spell Pierce and Into the Flood Maw up. So they may very well need to flood something. Okay. Yeah, we can flood that, I guess. Make them waste their turn. Also set them back a land drop. That's pretty good. Alright, sleight of hand. Find me a fish, please. There's a fish. I can't cast it this turn and play the Pilgrimage, though. Well, given that they just activated their Restless Fence last turn, I kind of feel like I can tap out for this Deeproot. So I'm gonna do just that. Another Tursa. Legend rules. Arc Enemy's Charm. Okay, they've got a million, probably a million removal spells. Another Deeproot Pilgrimage. Okay. Pilgrimage. Play our homie. Consults. We're looking for more fish at this point. So I think I'm actually gonna graveyard the Consults. Make some tokens. They have Black Sun. Alright, let's X equals 1. Our Jade Lights. Into the Flood Maw. I don't think we don't want to bounce Tursa. Pilgrimage number 3. Make some tokens. Sure wish I had a mana last turn. Duress. It's good Duress. Overrun is the most dangerous card in the long term. I take it. There's a Phoenix. Take 2. Alright. Let's play our engine on Merfolk. Play this land. Station it. Like 3 more 2/2s. Hexproof 2/2s. Now we'll start attacking. Just attacking with the Phoenix for 2. Okay. Boneyard Dracosaur. Bonehorde Dracosaur. Sure. Dude. Our draws have not been the best. So we're actually just dead in the air. Unless we can kill him right now. Which I don't think we can. Nope, that's not enough damage. Alright. Pretty anemic draw from us there. Tursa plus Bonehorde Dracosaur. Unable to Scream seems good. Essence Scatter seems good. Seem very creature-focused. They also have, like, Duress and Day of Black Sun. So, we want our Spell Pierces and Negates, I think. That's probably it. I don't know, I'm getting, like, a big red vibe from them. Maybe we want Disdainful Stroke, too. I don't like Into the Flood Maw that much against them. I'll keep in one. Cut one Overrun. Cut a Consult. One Mindspring. Yeah, we'll cut the Flood Maws. Let's try that. Try this. Okay. Sure, this looks fine. I can play a Merfolk turn 1. I think I will. Actually, maybe turn 1 I'll play Tap Land. Turn 2, play Merfolk that Explores. I think I like that better, since I'm on the play. Okay, let's do some exploring. Mindspring. Do I want another Mindspring? I don't think so. I'm looking for Pilgrimage. Consider Triumph taking 3 damage. Okay. I'm cool with that, really. Alright, let's explore. Cenote Scout. I'll keep a Cenote Scout. Play a Mindspring. Wanted Scoops. Okay. Run it back. Yeah, I like this. Double Unable to Scream spells I can cast. Alright, let's do some scouting. Another Cenote Scout. I'll keep the Cenote Scout. Alright, getting with our scout. Your Triumph taking 3 damage. Alright, let's play a River Herald Scout. Banner? We'll keep a banner. Tursa. Okay. So here we can shock, play our banner on Merfolk. Attack. Explore. Jawland. Another sweeper here. Mark Enemy's Charm. Okay. Let's explore. Sleight of hand. I don't want a sleight of hand. Play this tap land. Yeah, I'll use one of my Unable to Scream so I can attack with my 2/2. Hammerstorm Predator. Well, okay. Unable to Scream the Predator. Playing with a banner. And this is what we got, so... I think we've explored away a couple of card draw effects. Just more removal. And we draw land, that's not good. Come on, fish. Dracosaur. Scout. Consult. Yeah, I feel like we need a consult here. They have another Immersturm Predator and a Day of Black Sun. Pretty good hits. They can't cast them both. When it shocks. Okay, they Day of Black Sun. They don't attack with their Dracosaur. Alright, they lose their thing, that's good. At the beginning of your upkeep. So I guess we have to do this now. Consult. That doesn't help. That doesn't help at all. Yeah, this doesn't do anything. Mindspring plus Jade Light, I guess. Cast the Mindspring. Cast Jade Light, X equals 2. Cenote Scout, we'll bin that. They land. Well, we're dead without an answer to these flyers. Did I board in my paw patch formations? Scavenger Regents? And we just draw land. Alright. Propes will be our final opponents. Let's see if we can get a winning record by spamming fish. We can't keep this one lander. This one's better, we'll keep it. And bottom, I guess one of these scouts. Okay, let's sleight of hand, Botanical Sanctum, or Overrun. I guess we'll take the Overrun for later. Opponent plays double Restless Prairie. Alright, let's scout. Draw land. Dinosaur. Regal Imperiosaur. Okay, big dinos. I can respect it. Unable to stream there. Play this Mindspring. And a Tapland. Thrashing Bronzodon. Kinda sucks considering that we're a enchantment-based deck. Yeah, I don't want to play my Lifecraft Engine. Oh, I played a Tapland there. I don't think I want to play my Lifecraft Engine into that, although it would make them sack it. And spend mana. Maybe they would do that immediately. Sure. I'm actually going to play my Lifecrafter Engine. And I can get a bigger exhaust on this next turn. Merfolk. We'll pass. We'll pass. Pugnacious Hammer Skull. Okay. The Skullport Nexus. Where X is the greatest power among creatures. Whenever one or more non-token creatures you control die, create a fungus dinosaur with base power and types equal to the power of those creatures. Wow, okay. That's pretty scary. Jade Light. Spelunker. So I could play the Spelunker and explore for a bunch. Let's see. I could play this Explore 1. And then I could still hold up X equals 2. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Let's... X equals 1. Oh no, it's only X equals 1. Lost in the... Not X equals 2. This doesn't tap for mana. Lost in the Maze. I think that's gonna be good. Can 2 mana double target creature's power until end of turn? Okay, well, we'll block the Hammer Skull. That thing could become a 6. 4. Sure, we'll block the Hammer Skull. We'll do this. Alright, we'll just X equals 1. So that's the most we can. Draw that into the Lost in the Maze. Gigantosaurus. Wow. Okay, there's a Pilgrimage. So we absolutely need to gain 2 life. X equals 3. Then we don't have enough mana for the pilgrimage. We don't have a spaceship either. What can we do? We can X equals 2 this. Tap, tap. And then play the pilgrimage. Yeah, I think that's a better way to go. X equals 2. Stun these guys. Play Deeproot Pilgrimage. Attack. Make some dorks. A dork. Overlord. No block. Okay, we draw land. So if we overrun, do we die next turn? We get 1 blocker back. Land was like such a bad draw. So if we overrun, we've got 6 plus 7 is 13, plus 5 is 18 points of damage potentially, of which they can absorb 7. They would have to double block, and they would lose their Overlord. But we lose on the backswing. But if we don't make a token and they just attack with everything, that's also very bad for us. Okay. I could just crew the Lifecraft Engine to make a token. Yeah, I think that we've lost this. I guess yeah, if we go for it, unless they make a huge mistake, we don't win here. So I think we gotta wait and hopefully try to find a better opportunity. But it's unlikely to come. Regal Imperiosaur. Okay, let's see how they attack. So we're gonna crew this. Make a dork. Activate our Lifecraft Engine. So we'll block. We have to block here and here. And here. Because those are all lethal attacks otherwise. Yeah, let's do this. Just see what could we draw off the top of our deck that would fix this situation for us. I'm not sure. Yep, so they do 8. Like our whole board. We were very close to having it with this Overrun, but we just didn't get our token production in time. We draw land, okay. Huh. So, unable to scream. Essence Scatter. Definitely. Disdainful Stroke? Like, that stops the enchantment. Maybe I want Annul, actually. It also stops Gigantosaurus. I'll go 1 Annul, 1 Disdainful Stroke. Tishana's can stop like a Thrashy activation. And maybe we'll bring in our Heritage Reclamation just in case they do resolve that enchantment. Let's cut 1 Spell Pierce. Cut a couple of Mindsprings since we're bringing in the Tishana's. I don't think Overrun is going to do it here. I think the board doesn't go very wide. They just have huge creatures. So if we can just deal with those huge creatures with our bounce and unable to scream, I think that's the plan. Go down to 1 Mindspring. Cut 1 Consult. You know, I like the Consults better than the Sleight of Hands, actually. Gotta make 2 more cuts. Ugh. Alright. Go down to 4 Anthems. We'll do this split. Try it like this. That's 61. Did I get it in time? Uh-oh. I don't know if I got it in time. Let's see. Well, Zero Lander. Come on, deck. Into Zero Lander. Come on, deck. Alright. Roll into 5. Okay, so we did get our board in time. Our deck is 61 cards, though. But still, statistically, we should not get 2 Zero Landers in a row. With our 21 lands and 61 cards. We'll bottom... I guess... this land, and maybe one of these creatures. Probably the Tishana's. That really sucks. I'm taking Unable to Scream. More Flood Maws? Okay. Play our fish. Draw land. That guy. He's just a 2/3 haste. Fine, we'll take it. Attack. Imperiosaur. We could bounce it. The next turn they could play it again and maybe pay 2 to kill our thing, but we're gonna Unable to Scream this Imperiosaur, so... yeah, we're gonna bounce this thing. It's too much damage. Draw land. Well, we'll do this. No point in attacking. Blossoming Sands. So they're like Naya dinosaurs? Another Imperiosaur. Can we find another Unable to Scream? Yeah, let's bounce that as well. Land. There's that guy. Can pay 2 to kill my scout. Sure. Cenote. River Herald Scout. That's just not going to be enough to compete with what they're bringing. Trumpeting Carnosaur. Hammer Skull. Tishana's, but I think we're just too far behind here. They get to play this Lord next turn, so we're dead. Alright, GG's. Okay, so our final record with Simic's Fish Spam was a 2 and 3, which, you know, it's a fun deck, I'll say that. Like, I enjoyed playing it, and I think if you can stick the Deeproot Pilgrimage in early and really abuse it, the results are impressive. Building a board full of hexproof tokens is something that I enjoy. We're really bad against, like, we seem to be really bad against very creature-heavy matchups, like the Badger Mole matchup, obviously. That's the kind of matchup that, like, I don't know how we could beat that. Like, we're doing our best, you know? I just don't think Simic maybe has enough to try to fight it fairly. The only way to fight it really is like Badger Moling yourself. I don't know, like, what could this do? What could this deck do to give it a better matchup against those types of decks? We've got the 4 of Unable to Scream. We've got the Into the Flood Maws. We've got Essence Scatter in the sideboard. I don't know. We're doing everything that we can. We did beat it in one game, actually. So we also got destroyed by that dinosaur deck. I think in general, like, decks that require 1-for-1 trades are a little tricky for this deck because we don't really recoup the cards well. Like, we've got some Consult and Sleight of Hands, which I ended up boarding out a lot for interaction. You know, I ended up usually boarding out 1 Consult. Maybe that's a mistake. Yeah, I don't know. Overall, the plan is a little inconsistent because you do have, like, the pieces that you need. You need the Merfolk, you need the Deeproot Pilgrimage, you need some way to make those, like, a threat. So it's a little inconsistent, you know, like, if you don't find all the pieces, the deck definitely doesn't perform as well. It's also, because it can't actually kill creatures, it has a tough matchup in the like creature heavy decks, which is a huge problem. You know, because Badger Mole Cub decks are one of the most played archetypes. So overall, I think this isn't the ideal build of a deck that's trying to get lots of hexproof creatures. Because that was really the goal, is like, I don't want my stuff to die all the time, so I want to make a bunch of hexproof guys and, like, Voltron them up, basically. But we're not Voltroning particularly well, just with these Anthems and Overruns, although we did win a game with Overrun. The thing is, though, like, after Lauren releases, I think this deck becomes much, much better, because we get Hallowed Fountain and we get Temple Garden, and Bant becomes a much more viable color combination. We also get Azorius Merfolk, so I think you'll be seeing a Bant version of this deck once Lauren comes out, and I think that deck's going to be much, much better, because we can run, like, a true... because the thing that you traditionally want to do with hexproof creatures is load them up with, like, all sorts of really powerful, like, enchantments, auras, and just make, like, an invincible, life-linking, double-striking, you know, fish. like a 5/5 hexproof flying, whatever, you know. That's traditionally what you do with hexproof creatures in, like, you know, boggles type builds. And with access to white mana, like, Sheltered by Ghosts is a good spell to have access to in a deck like this. Putting a Sheltered by Ghost onto a Deeproot Pilgrimage, onto a Merfolk token that's hexproof is great. And I think there's, you know, you legitimately get like the good white enchantments. Like you have ethereal armor as well. So I think with the addition of white in Lorwyn, you can make more of an aura focused deck that's going to be much stronger, probably primarily because it has Sheltered by Ghosts, which is a very good spell, and goes right into this deck if you can get the mana to work. So I would say this Simic build isn't the best. It was fun to play. It's a good starting point and a good like thought experiment. I think the Bant version when Lorwyn releases is going to be the real deal. So you'll be seeing more fish spam, Bant fish spam next time most likely. But that's going to do for tonight. I had fun playing Simic's fish spam. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you did and you like off-meta MTG content, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. I stream MTG on my Twitch channel every Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday evening. There's a link to the Twitch channel in the description if you want to come check out the action in real time. So I hope you all have a great weekend. I'll catch you on Sunday. Have a good night.